What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing Aeon's End, Outcasts. Now, this is the latest Aeon's End game. We did get the Kickstarter edition, so it does include 2 expansions for the game. Now, when we get to the components, I'm not going to be showing those off. Well, maybe just a sealed pack so you get an idea as to what to expect. But we have played the entire game. Now, this is once again published by Indie Boards and Cards and designed by Kevin Riley, Nick Little, and they're joined this time by Sydney Englestein. Did I get all that?
Yes, you did.
All right, so take it away, Julie. Tell our viewers more about the game itself.
So it's a cooperative game intended for ages 14 and above. It plays 1 to 4 players. The box says 60 minutes, but I really think that depends on the villain that you're playing against. We've had some 90-minute playthroughs.
Oh, some longer ones too. I also think it depends on your player count. The more players you have, the longer it's going to take. Now, we played through the whole campaign, as I mentioned, and we played this with 4 mages. Now, for those of you that may be coming to Aeon's End for the first time, this is your first game. If you are curious to learn how to play, well, there'll be a card popping up right there that will take you back to one of our older reviews where we did teach the game. Now, at its core, it is the same. There is a new mechanic, the Outcast mechanic with Zaxos. So what are you doing in this game? Well, like a regular Aeon's End game, you're going to be fighting the Nameless, protecting Gravehold, or, well, they call it Gravehold. In this case, it was a different village. And then your ally, who is Zaxos, that will be joining you on your quest in this game. You're going to go through a story-driven expedition. Now, if you do not want to do that, you can just open up all the packs and play the game just as a standard game. Now, throughout your expeditions, you're going to gain treasures as well that will let you essentially level up your characters, and you'll be unlocking new characters, new Nameless, as well as new spells as you progress through the game. Did I miss anything, Julie?
No, I think we're good.
So what time is it?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend and fellow mage. What's this? We had wizards, now mages?
We're at Take a Table one more time.
Yep. Let's try those last 2 mages out if we get a chance, because we didn't get to play as everyone yet. Now we're going to take a look at the components for Aeon's End Outcasts. Now you may be wondering why I've got some stuff hiding the components here. Well, we're not going to be taking a look at everything. There are a lot of legacy unlocks in this game. Oh, not necessarily legacy, expedition unlocks. And I don't want to have too many spoilers when we're going to be taking a look at the components. So I'm hiding everything right now. We're going to show you to the other components that come with the game. After that, I'm moving the rulebook, moving the expedition rulebook, and you're going to see what I want to show you. Now, if you want absolutely no spoilers, well, that's going to be difficult. Some of the main new mechanics that we discuss in the review are spoilers. This is going to be just the last time that I mention it here in the component section. But if you want to just skip ahead, not see anything that you may not want to, feel free to take a look down below. In the video description, there are timestamps. You can skip ahead to our review, but fair warning, we do talk about some of the stuff you're going to see here. So with that being said, let's get started. So first things first, we do have the Aeon's End Outcast narrative booklet. Now, it's a nice booklet. I'm not going to go anywhere beyond the first page. You do get these nice story blurbs, explanation as to the story for the battle, and how to set up the battle. Anything else I show you would definitely be a spoiler. You also get this nice handy reference sheet so you can see how you're going to set up the game, what you're going to be opening. Now, we've opened up all of these stop decks already, so I don't have any to show you, but I will show you some of the cards that you can expect to see in Aeon's End Outcast as we do the Kickstarter promo pack, since this is the Kickstarter version that does include 2 expansions. So you'll see some of those mages as well, just basically everything that was put in the box that was readily visible. We're going to go over those things. That being said, let's start taking a look at the components. So here we've got the rulebook for Aeon's End Outcast. Now, if you understand the system, you know what you're doing. You don't need to read the rulebook. The new rules are nicely listed in this yellow box, so you can skip ahead and use that. You do get the nice game and reference cards and explanation how to set up the Nemesis deck quickly. I love how that's on the back. Overall, the rulebook has pretty much the exact same layout as all the previous Aeon's End rulebooks. So really, if you've got the other games, you do not need to take a look at that. So there you go. Last, we've got the end of Expedition rulebook. Now this rulebook will tell you how to save your game, how to set up with the upgraded Nemesis cards, any variants that you want to play, and how to reset Aeons and Outcasts. Now once I move this, we're going to have some spoilers. So there you have it. Here are the main components for Aeons and Outcasts. We're going to have the envelopes, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, envelope 4 in the end. Got a little zealous when I opened it up. Now these would normally be filled with Nemesis, Mages, components like the Zaxos Outcast board. So we'll take a look at this. So this is going to be one of the key new features. Instead of protecting Grey Vault, you're going to be protecting Zaxos. And he's got some really cool abilities that you can use. So you've got all the rules and setup for him right here. There's also some rules included in the books. Now here's the first nameless, Experiment 153. So I just went and I set him up. Now there are some special rules with regards to him. So make sure that you take a look at this. So you got to kill all his mobs. He doesn't use the actual Nemesis health tile, which we've got right here. And he's quite the pain in the butt. So once again, this is the Nemesis health tile, or nameless health tile, however you want to call it. We did get a D4. Haven't used it yet. Guessing it has something to do with the expansion content. This is the new Gravehold / Zaxos health tile. We once again, of course, have health tokens 1 and 5s, power tokens for Nemesis cards, as well as charges that you're going to be getting for your mages, as well as Zaxos. Now here we've got the barrier token for Takrin, which I'll explain in just a moment, and the runes that you're going to be using with Zana. So let's take a look at the mages. So we've got Ilya, who's a new mage. Now she is paired with Kel. Their decks are designed to work together. We then have Zana and Takrin. Her special ability will let you, so they're not runes, they're glyphs. Will let you heal Gravehold or place 2 glyph tokens. Now what's really cool about her ability is when you place these glyph tokens, if you use them, then you get to move them to another card. They go on different cards in the supply. We've got Takrin, who has his barriers, and as he takes damage, you get to move the barriers, triggering those effects. Now, these mages we haven't had a chance to play yet, but they were included in the Kickstarter, so they come from the expansion. So if you do not have the Kickstarter, you buy the expansions, you'll get these characters. We've got Lucian, who's got his own set of special breaches. We've got Reth. We've got Oat and Ogmore, who seems to be almost part nameless, or definitely using the power of the void. And then we've got Karina. So these are the mages that come in the Kickstarter bundle for Aeons and Outcasts. Of course, we get, once again, 4 player reference cards, double-sided. You can see the player turn, you can see the Nemesis turn. And of course, we've got the turn order deck, which has multiples of everything that you would need. Then you may be wondering why there's multiples of 1 and 2. Just depends on if you want to use the 1, 2 or the 3, 4, depending on how you're setting up for a 2-player game. 3-player game, you got the wild. So, and then you've got 3 and 4. And then, of course, the 2 Nemesis turn order cards. So we've got all the player tokens right here, as well as the wild token. We get the 4 standard breaches, and you've got the opposite sides. That'll tell you if they're closed, what you need to do to get them open, and what bonuses you get. So you get +1 damage from your level 3 and your level 4 breaches. Now, I'm going to just grab a pack of cards that I set aside. It didn't quite fit on camera. So you will be getting packs sealed like this, except they'll have that stop symbol front and back. And that's how you're going to progress through the expedition the first time you play. Now, to give you just an example of the cards, in case Aeons and Outcasts is going to be your first Aeons Endgame, we've opened up the promo pack. So you're going to have some new gems, of course. You're going to have spells, new relics, randomizers for those cards. As is, this has the expedition system, you're going to get some different treasures. These are level 1 treasures that will replace cards in your starting hands. Then you got level 2 treasures, which are for the group, and they will trigger an effect that anyone can use, provided you meet the conditions. Then we've got the level 3 treasures, which are specific to a player, and you'll follow their effects either when you meet their conditions by buying a gem or doing having a specific amount of Aether in a draw phase, or just at the start of your turn. Then, of course, we do have the Nemesis cards, just to show you what we've got here. So that's the back. These are bonus upgraded Nemesis cards that were unlocked during the game, during the Kickstarter. We also have the new Zaxos Outcast deck. So these were abilities including the Kickstarter. So these are the powerful things that you can do if you charge up Zaxos. You'll draw from this deck and trigger his awesome abilities. Now you got some randomizers for 2 other cards here, and I haven't gone and opened up all of the stuff in the promo packs yet, so not quite sure where they are. Could have another pack, but just wanted to go through that, make sure that you got a chance to see what you're going to be getting, or at least an idea as to what all the content's going to look like in Aeon's End Outcasts. Now keep it right here, as Julie and I will be coming back at you with a review of the game. So Aeon's End Outcasts, what did you think of the game?
Well, we like the system, right? Aeon's End. If you go back, you can see this is what the 4th or 5th version.
This is the 5th version of the game. We have covered all the other versions. Now, one thing I'm going to say right now, because I want to get it off my chest, please, for the love of God, Indie Boards of Cards, you're doing Aeon's End 6. Can we get some cool deluxe boxes? Because having 6 boxes of Aeon's End, because I heard you did mention that Aeon's End 6 is coming, because that's where we're going to get some stuff that was missing from the Kickstarter edition of this game. We need a big box and a better way to sort it, because it's taking up too much room. Legacy box size is great. I mean, I can get my own organizers, but I'd like something that says like Aeon's End or Eternal, and just, you know, if I ever do want to get rid of the game, it's not part of my plans. I'd like to have it in a nice, presentable way. So in any case, got that off my chest. Take it away.
So despite what seemed like a little rant that Jason just had here, we do like the game. We do enjoy playing it. This is one of those games that we play, as you mentioned in the intro, through normally the entire game. I was gonna say we plow the way through, but that has a negative connotation. It's not. We just like to play our way through the game and really try out all of the villains, all of the campaigns. So we did that again this time. I really enjoy Aeon's End, and this is not an exception. It feels the same. It's just new monsters and new mages. I played with Kel.
Well, not new monsters. Don't forget, we got Zaxos Outcast, which does change the game.
Okay, so minions, but I guess it's the way.
No, Zaxos.
Yes, we still have Zaxos.
That's the biggest change to the game.
But the monsters that we're facing are different, right? Like we had the. Should we even say, or is that going to be a spoiler?
Well,
I don't think we should say. Anyways, there's different.
Well, if you did watch the components, you do know that when I revealed some of the stuff, there was a spoiler warning. So we're not going to talk too much about it. We will talk about Maul, who was the first nameless that you face in this. We are talking about Zaxos because, you know what? It's Outcast. That is a bit of a spoiler, but if you'd looked at anything with regards to the system, you have to know that he was going to be a big part of this game. It's, you know, if you are coming at it from a retail perspective, well, this is not the retail edition that we're covering. We're covering the Kickstarter. We're reviewing it. So that's where we're coming from. And to be honest, there wouldn't be much point of us reviewing the game if we weren't going to talk about how Zaxos plays. But we're going to do our best to keep a lot of the other stuff, at least those real secret unlocks, to ourselves.
Yeah. So I played with Kel, and I'm so bad at this. I can't remember the name of the other mage that I played with. Ilya. So those two play together very well because they allow you to, there's a mechanic that allows you to gain charges when you're playing them together.
Well, that's part of the story. They're a bonded mage pair, so they're designed to work together. I played as Zana and Takrin, and while they're not designed to really play well together, there's some really cool new mechanics. I love the glyph carving mechanic that Zana has that just lets you really gain charges, and as well as, build your deck by getting spells, focusing people's breaches. So it's a really cool support role. And Takran's barriers are definitely a lot of fun. He was the tank of our party taking the most damage in order to trigger his abilities. And then once we unlock Zaxos, your abilities were really awesome just to feed him charges and then watch him wreak some havoc.
Yeah. And I mean, we played with other mages afterwards, and I think those ones we won't talk about, but they had some pretty cool abilities too that made it fun to play with.
If you do have the Kickstarter bundle and you got the accessory pack like I did, you already know who those mages are. You're already going to know who the mages are that you will get at the end of the game. So one cool thing, you will get some more mages to entice you to play through it again or just play it as a regular Aeon's End game. Now, I'm not going to tell you who it is, because that's really cool. And if you're a fan of the game as well as the story, don't want to spoil it for you. Talking about Zaxos is spoilers enough, but we need to talk about him. Why don't we get into it?
Well, so Zaxos, let's start the first villain, the first nameless that we faced.
So Ma, or Experiment 153 with his Ma tokens. I call him Ma because that's just what I think when
I didn't like him. I really didn't. That was the first one we played, and I thought we fought through it. We had a hard time, and I just really, we kept slugging through it. We kept getting defeated, and it was really, really annoying. And I didn't enjoy it, but then we finally beat him and we moved on to the others. And then the others were enjoyable to play against. And I don't know if it's just Zaxos coming out afterwards for the other ones that made them that much easier. But the first one, just annoying. That's all.
What I think about this, and it's interesting that you mentioned that because I'm thinking about our experience with Aeon's End New Age. We really like New Age, and actually it's been almost a year since Aeon's End hit the table because of Fenrix in New Age. We'd actually planned on playing the other expansions, continuing through the New Age story, and that boss was just ridiculously hard. We tried out 4 mages, we tried out 2 mages, and we just didn't get anywhere. Actually, if you take a look at Board Game Geek, you can see all sorts of threads about strategies, how to beat Fenrix. And I get it, they wanted this really big, bad, tough boss, but it didn't feel fun, at least to me, so kind of soured us on the experience. Now, playing Outcasts, it feels to me like they designed bosses 2, 3, and 4 before they did anything in terms of Experiment 153. It feels like we had this new mechanic, that's what they were focusing on, it was fun, it's new. It maybe needed a little bit more testing because the way the progression was, I felt like 153 was the hardest, and the other ones actually got easier. The last encounter, we kind of just sailed through. I don't know if it was our strategy or because we beat our head against Experiment 153 so many times, but it felt off because once you get past 153, you're playing a different game and not it's still Aeon's End at the core, but it's clearly something new by having Zaxos, Outcast, being able to charge him up, having his different abilities that can be devastating minions as well as the nameless themselves, or boosting your healing and saving the day. So that component was really cool, very well done. It felt to me like we got a similar design style of Fenrix in Experiment 153, and I just think that's just a terrible way to start out a game, especially if someone's not a fan of Aeon's End. I will have to say, I do not recommend this for anyone that's new to the series. This is definitely pick something else, base game, War Eternal, New Age, Legacy. I would start with anything but Outcast at this point.
That being said, I think if you've played it, you enjoy it, and you're looking for some more newer content, there's some cool new spells, new gems, new relics, new mechanics that come with, being, like you said, the glyphs, the barriers. The new mages have other abilities as well. I think it's lots of fun. I agree with you, though. I think that the Nameless came out in a really weird way to me. It felt like it was really hard, and then they became progressively easier. So that being said, I'm not going to harsh on it too much. There's not much more for me to say than to say it feels like Aeon's End. It plays like Aeon's End. It's got fun new things. I think it deserves to be, it's
belongs in the collection.
It belongs in the collection. I think if you enjoyed it, pick it up. If you enjoyed the other ones, you're definitely going to enjoy this one. So I suggest that you pick it up. I agree with you, though. If this is your first one, don't start with this one.
No, I definitely wouldn't. And I think, what did you think of Zaxos and his abilities? Because you didn't give any comment on it.
I loved it. I thought it was fun. I mean, with the first, I got so used to charging up my 2 mages. when Zaxos comes, you have to kind of charge him up, and I was like, well, I want to charge my own. But then we became like our main power source to Zaxos, charging him up.
And he just was unleashing.
Yeah, so that was fun.
And one negative about that, though, is having Zaxos and focusing on charging him up. There are cool cards that give you charges for Zaxos himself. Love those. The neat thing is you can charge him by using your own charges or those specific cards. But I felt like there was no point in you charging your own mages or using your abilities. His abilities were a lot stronger. Now playing with Zana and Takran, I still needed to charge my own because Takran was our tank, so he'd be taking a lot of damage. So I needed to be able to heal myself, which was his charge ability. And Zana could heal Gravehold. So keeping those two with those extra abilities was very useful and a key part of our strategy. But it was unfortunate for you that your mages just kind of felt weaker by comparison. Now, it's cool and it makes sense in terms of this game and the expedition setting. I do think that you're going to have a lot of fun charging up and playing the mages and using their special ability in any regular Aeon's End game. It's just interesting that the expedition really focuses on Zaxos' ability, which I guess makes sense because I can't see you necessarily taking Zaxos Outcast and playing with him in a standard Aeon's Endgame. I mean, if you're not using the upgraded Nemesis cards, it might get a little too easy. It's almost like taking your Aeon's End Legacy Mage and bringing them into a game like this. They'll just be a little overpowered, which can be fun at times, but it's not necessarily what you're looking for. I think we really covered everything about Aeon's End Outcast. So what's your score for the game?
This, to me, is a 7.5.
I'm going to give this one a 7, and I could have given it a little higher score because I really like the fights we had. I really like Zaxos, but the intro boss to this game just really means I have to knock my score down a little bit because it's not friendly for new gamers, and that's something that I believe in. Games should be accessible.
So on that note, it's time to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
Take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see pictures of Julie and I playing Aeon's End Outcast, be there on all those feeds. Then popping up in front of me are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be our most recently released one. And over there in front of Julie, what do you think? Legacy, New Age? Which one should it be?
Legacy.
So I'll take you back to our review and how to play. Well, it's got a how to play, so that works too. Of Aeon's End Legacy. Now what time is it?
Grab our drinks.
Grab our fellow mage and best friend. And keep playing games.
Keep playing games. We definitely play a lot of Aeon's End.
Well, we've got 4 expansions that are story expansions we can play still.